So in this video, we are going to discuss lesson 2, which is approaches and theories of crime. So next one is approaches in the explanation of crime. We have subjective approach, which deals with the biological genetic explanation of crimes. First, A, anthropological, which deals with the study of physical characteristics of an individual offender with non-offenders in an attempt to discover difference covering criminal behavior. B. Medical approach is an application of medical examination for the explanation of mental and physical condition of the individual prior and after the commission of the crime. C is biological approach. According to TAC, heredity is one of the major factors why a person commits crime. And D, psychological. Maslow explained that the deprivation of the primary needs is a strong factor in the commission of crime. E, psychological concern in the deprivation of psychological needs of men, which constitute the development of deviations of normal behavior resulting to repulsive sentiment and action. F is psychiatric. This approach explains that mental disease is the reason why a person violates norms and laws of the land. G is psychoanalytical. According to Freud, the imbalanced condition of id, ego, and superego causes deviation of the individual to the norms of the society. And next one is objective approach. Objective approach deals with the study of groups, social processes, and institutions as influence to behavior. We have geographical approach, which considers topography, natural resources, geographical location, and climate lead an individual to commit crime. Next one is biological approach. So according to Park, this is concerned with the biotic grouping of men resulting to migration, competition, social discrimination, division of labor, and social conflicts as factor to crime. Next one is economic approach. Merton believed that poverty or economic difficulty pushes a person to commit crime in order to support his needs. And next one is sociocultural. Cohen affirms that institution, education, politics, and religion are major factors in the commission of crimes. Next one is contemporary approach. Contemporary approach is the combination of different approaches to explain the reason or causes for the commission of crimes, which focuses on the psychoanalytical, psychiatric, and sociological theories. Next one is theories of crime causation. Theory is any system of ideas arranged in rational order that produce general principle which increase your understanding and explanation. It is the foundation of criminology and of criminal justice, and we study theory to know why we are doing what we do. Early beginnings, demonological theory. This theory is asserting that a person commits wrongful acts due to the fact that he was possessed by demons. Pre-20th century, 1738 to 1798. Criminology has been divided into three broad schools. First one is classical, neoclassical, and positivist. Classical schools of thought. The advocates are Cesar Beccaria, Cesar Bonesa Marchis de Beccaria, who is known as the founder of classical school of thought, and Jeremy Bentham. Beccaria, in his book, An Essay of Crime and Punishment, presented key ideas on the abolition of torture as legitimate means of extracting confession. Beccaria believed that A. People want to achieve pleasure and avoid pain. B. Crime provides some pleasure to the criminal. C. To deter crime, one must administer pain in an appropriate amount to counterbalance the pleasure obtained from crime. And D. Punishment should fit the crime. Characteristics of classical school. 1 is the basis of criminal liability is human free will, and the purpose of penalty is retribution. Man is essentially a moral creature with an absolute free will to choose between right and wrong. Neoclassical school of thought, this school argued that there are situations or circumstances that make it impossible to exercise free will, and this is a reason to exempt the offender from conviction. And next is positivist school or Italian school. This school of thought emphasizes scientific treatment of criminals, not on penalties to be imposed, because it is believed that man is subdued occasionally by a strange and morbid phenomenon which constrains him to do wrong in spite of or contrary to his own violation. Dr. Cesar Lombroso, who wrote Crime, Its Causes and Remedies, which contains the classification of criminal as follows. First one is born criminal, based on the belief that criminal behavior is inherited. Next one, criminal by passion, a person who commits crime due to extreme emotion, impulse of the moment, fit of passion, rage, anger, or jealousy. Next one is criminaloid, an individual who commits crime because of weak self-control or less physical stigmata. Next one is insane criminal, a person who commits crime by reason of his psychological disorder or mental abnormalities. Then next one is occasional criminal, one who commits crime due to insignificant reason that push them to do at a given situation. Then next one is pseudo criminal, an individual who kills a person in self-defense. So, sumatotyping theory, Ernest Kretschmer, a German psychiatrist, originated the idea of sumatotyping theory. So, three major types of physique is asthenic, skinny and slender with lean, slightly built, and narrow shoulders. Next one is athletic, tall, strong, and muscular, who are usually involved in crimes against person because they are generally violent. Next one is picnic, broad face, massive neck, medium height, and with rounded bodies, generally commit crimes related to trickery, swindling, and violence. Next, sumatotyping theory, William Sheldon believed that heredity is the principal determinant of behavior and the physique is a dependable and unswerving indicator of personality. Sheldon classification of body physique. Number 1 is endomorphy, relaxed and comfortable person with predominance of soft and roundness throughout the different regions of the body, with short, tapering limbs, small bones, and loves luxurious things and condition in life, essentially extroverts. Number 2 is mesomorphy, commonly called as the athletic type of person who behave, act, and talk aggressively, characterized by predominance of muscles, large wrists and hands, tend to commit crime of violence. Number 3 is ectomorphy, introvert person who is poorly muscled and characterized by the thin physique, flat chest, fragile and delicate bones. Differential association theory simply believes that criminal behavior is learned, not inherited. Developed by Edwin Sutherland, the Dean of Modern Criminology, and he states that while criminal behavior is an expression of the general needs and value, it is not explained by those general needs and values, since non-criminal behavior is an expression of the same needs and values. Social class conflict and capitalism theory. According to Karl Marx, Frederick Engel, and William Bonger are the main proponent of this theory. It argues that upper class in a capitalist society is responsible for the conception of penal law and the ideological biases in the interpretation and enforcement of laws. Thus, criminality is very much reflected on the exploited and abused members of the underprivileged population, which are usually unemployed or underemployed. Next theory is strain theory. according to Robert King, Merton is the leading sociologist of the late 20th century who also related criminality to lack or absence of norms. He asserted that a man who failed to achieve higher status or goals in life caused him to commit crimes in order for that status goals to be attained. Next theory is subculture theory. According to Albert Cohen, the lower class cannot socialize effectively to the middle class and higher classes because the latter would not accept the behavior of the former. Thus, the member of the lower class gather together to share their common concern, which subsequently form a subculture that rebuts the middle class values. Next one is neutralization theory. Gresham Sykes believes that a person who will follow or break law depending upon whether he will be benefited or not, such that if the societal rules are favorable to him, the latter are very much willing to obey it. Otherwise, he will transgress. Culture is subculture theory. According to Albert Cohen, the lower class cannot socialize effectively to the middle class and higher classes because the latter would not accept the behavior of the former. Thus, the members of the lower class gather together to share their common concerns, win subsequently from a subculture that rebuts the middle class values. Next theory is neutralization theory. Graham Sykes believed that a person will follow or break law depending upon whether he will be benefited or not, such that if the societal rules are favorable to him, the latter are very much willing to obey it, otherwise he will transgress. Next theory is mental deficiency theory. Group of theories which are primarily focused on the psychiatric makeup of the individual criminal, stating among others the human intelligence is the big factor in criminality.